My dearest Clara, just a line or two to let you know that we are quite safe. After our terrible experience, one would never have believed when you saw me off on that journey before a week was out what I should have to go through. I am glad to say my cold is the only ill effect so far. So Clara, to see that magnificent ship, like a floating palace, go down in the sea was an awful spectacle. We had 70 feet to be let down in the boat, and when we were going down, the steerage passenger jumped in the boat, and our officer, seeing our danger, jumped in the boat and shot the men to keep them from swamping us. And when nearly to the bottom, the ropes letting the lifeboats down refused to act, and they had to cut the rope, and we dropped. I thought that was my last minute. There were 59 in our boat, and we got well away from the ship, and after the ship had gone down, you should have heard the cries of those poor men and women. I could never describe it. It seemed to last about 2 hours, that terrible cry for help. After the ship had gone down, we had to change our boats to let our officer go back to the rescue. And when we got into the boat, there were 4 dead men and a madman. I think they pushed him overboard. I never saw him again after we rowed for 7 hours. We got picked up by the Carpathia, and we shouted for joy. When we saw the ship, they took us up with ropes, and they gave us neat brandy. There were 710 rescued, so they could not put us all up, so we slept on tables for 5 days. They were very kind to us, indeed, in every way. The suffering was frightful. We had 35 women who had lost their husbands on board. And one can imagine the agony of these women, not knowing if their husbands were living or dead, and how glad we were to see New York. It was in a fever here. We were given some clothes. Directly we came off, there was a steamer with 100 coffins waiting for the dead. But most that died were buried at sea. The flashlights took our photo. I was so glad to meet Carl and his friend. They soon got us a cab. We were snapshotted everywhere. There were 70,000 persons roped off in charge of the police. They were so glad to see us, and the world's sympathy is ours in New York, but I shall never, never go on a floating palace again. Write to me soon. Send me any recipes you have got there. With much love, your loving friend, Nell.